Moving along on my F-350 projects. I'm not restoring it, I'm not rebuilding it, I'm just trying to get it into decent working condition. What I'm going to work on now is the flatbed. I'm going to make some sides, wooden sides for the flatbed. So here you can see the truck and the flatbed. Bought some wood at the hardware store. Just kind of thinking about how I'm going to do this. I think it should be pretty straightforward. I've got stake pockets on the side, but none on the back. So I'm going to need to weld on some pockets. Picking kale. Yeah. Looks good. We don't have a lot of space for vegetables, and it's not really utilized so well right now, but we got kale, so that's awesome. If you watched my last video, you might remember that we had a family of foxes that was living in our yard under our deck. Well, there was one of the baby foxes who was kind of always by itself, and we were away from the house for a few days, and we came back and the baby fox had died and its body was on our deck. It was really sad. We had kind of gotten used to seeing them playing around in the yard, and the mother and the other babies were also gone. So we buried Poinga up on our property behind our house. I've got 2 new batteries in the truck, and these new bolts that I got for the battery connectors, they make a big difference. They have this, that extended collar there really makes it a lot easier to tighten the bolts. And it's just nice to be able to use the same wrench on all 4 of these terminals. Simple pleasures, I guess. I'm really excited about these. They're pretty basic. Just use some carriage bolts to attach the side pieces to these vertical stakes that I made out of 2x4s. Here you can see the inside. Just used a washer and a lock nut and drilled with a spade bit some space for the washers, so those are inset slightly That way I could use a shorter bolt so I don't have excess sticking out here. Still need to figure out how I'm going to do the cross piece in the back here. And I have this bigger board here for the back because I need to make up a little distance, a little height for this metal on the sides. I want to have these close to the same height. It's complicated a bit by this lip that's here, or step. One thing I've been wanting to do on the truck is get rid of the rear bumper. I just think it looks dumb. Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's okay, you know, technically I think to have it on there, but it just looks imbalanced, and it makes it look kind of like this was put together by somebody who really didn't care what it looked like. So I don't like that. Slight complication just because it has this jack here. I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe some kind of trailer connection, because the main connector is down here. And it has this light for the license plate, and then obviously there's the license plate itself. So that those things need to be attached somewhere else. Oh man. Yeah, this just, it looks so much better now. Really stoked. Looks like a flatbed. The bumper wasn't super heavy, bolts weren't too tight, and I got the electrical connections dealt with. I'm really, I'm just super stoked with how it looks. One thing I'm not sure about is getting up and down from the bed, and I think I can step here on the top of the hitch. It's a bit kind of close to the edge of the bed, so I don't know, maybe I'll get one of those little foot things that goes in the receiver. Yeah, that's all right. Getting in. Yeah, getting down. I'm out here today trying to wrap things up on the truck just to get it running so I can use it, and there's a few things left to do. I removed these trailer wiring connectors and the wiring harness. There's a lot here that I don't like. A lot of electrical tape, which I don't really like using on a vehicle, and these kind of crimp-on connectors that pierce the insulation. These are just terrible. So I have not decided what I'm going to do for the trailer wiring yet. You know, this truck had this connector, and then there was another smaller one that I had to cut out of the bumper. I don't know that much about trailer wiring connectors yet, so I'm going to have to look into that to see what's going to be the most useful. I've only had trucks that just had the 4-pin connector before that didn't have the brake controller on it, so that I will need to research. Then down here underneath the bed, these are the 2 connectors where the trailer wiring harness was connected, and I'm kind of hoping that I can just leave these as is for now. I don't see why not. But one thing that's really annoying here is that somebody cut one of these wires, and it's cut right near the end of this connector, so I got to figure out how to deal with that. But for now, I'm going to put some heat shrink over this end just so that it's not touching anything. There's also this other random green wire that's coming out of here, and I don't know what that's for, what that was supposed to be for. So yeah, got to figure that stuff out. The other things I need to do are I need to mount the license plate in here, and there's a license plate light that is on the mount that needs to be wired up. These are the 2 sockets for the old license plate lights that would have been in the old bumper, and normally I would not want to cut into this wiring harness if I can avoid it. So my preference would be to take off this existing harness here that's for these 2 lights. It's just this, this sort of loop here, and then it attaches into the main harness here. So my preference would be to get another one of these connectors, take this off, and then make my own sort of miniature harness. But I don't know anything about these connectors. I don't know where I could get one of these. And I don't think this truck is ever going to go back to using the regular bumper with these license plate lights in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one of these off, and I'm not going to cut it right near the connector like on the other one, but I'll cut it up a little ways so that there's some wire left on this piece right here, the socket. And for some reason it could be reattached later if it really needed to be. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but generally I don't like to mess with the existing wiring if it's at all possible. The way that I'm going to mount the license plate is with these tabs that are under here that have holes in them. And so there's one on each side, another one over here. And my plan was to get a piece of steel angle that I could attach, and then attach the license plate holder onto there. And then I was thinking about also moving these tail lights onto there as well. But I couldn't find a long enough piece of angle, so right now I'm going to just use a piece of wood for a temporary setup because I really want to get this truck usable. I don't like this right here. This looks cheap to me, this perforated angle. It just looks, yeah, I mean it works fine, but I just don't like how it looks. The other things that I need to do are fill in these openings here and there. I'm not sure what those are for. I think this truck, I'm guessing, had some kind of like toolboxes or something or this bed that ran along here, and those were just covered. But I'm going to put some wood in there to keep stuff from falling out. And then I need to finish some kind of like cross piece in the back to keep stuff in the bed. My plan for that was that I was going to weld some stake pockets across the back here, and I think eventually I'm going to do that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that right now, and so I might have an easier way to just get something going. Soldering the wires for the license plate light, and I have this new pretty cool tool, this thing right here, that holds the wires, the two ends of the wire together as you're soldering. And I've seen these things before. There's different kinds, some that are on a stand. This one has a magnet in the base, and then these little arms are magnets in here that hold on these pieces. So you can rotate these. You can take the clip parts off, and you could use them separate from this base. But yeah, I just did this wire, and I should not have waited so long to get one of these things. It makes it so much easier because the wires are not trying to pull apart from each other as you're soldering. Got the license plate mounted with the light above it. It's on this 2x4. That'll work for now, and then I'll replace that when I can get a piece of metal later. Just had a bit of a scare. There was a fire not far from our house, just down the end of our road, and our neighbor called and let us know that she saw it, and so we kind of got all of our stuff together and went down to the end of the street, and yeah, the fire service did a great job, and there was at least one airplane and then a helicopter that really knocked the fire down. So it's out now, but it's kind of scary when that happens so close to your house. Finished up the wood sides for the flatbed. And I got a piece for the back in. This I think is just going to be a temporary setup until I can weld on some stake pockets for the back. This is a 2x. I've got 2x lumber for the sides and the back, and so this is a pretty heavy piece of wood here to be lifting up. And I think it might be nice to have it split into 2 pieces. So something to think about. I'll see how this works. Here's how I did the tailgate piece across the back. Just got it between these 2 vertical supports, and it seems plenty strong enough, at least for now. And I can just lift it straight up to take it off. And I have wood filling in these open spaces over there just to keep stuff from falling out the front. And then I got a piece of plywood in the center here over the hitch, which I'm not going to be using for now. So this is just a temporary setup. I want to have a metal cover here, but I just haven't had a chance to try to work on that yet. So, as you can imagine, I'm pretty excited. I have had this truck for several months and just haven't been able to use it. So, it's going to be great to be able to finally go to the dump. We've got a lot of dead plant material around here that we got to get rid of. We're solidly in fire season now here in Northern California, and it's just not safe to have a bunch of dead leaves and that kind of stuff around on the ground, so we got to get rid of all that. So I was hoping this weekend to get to the dump, but it took more time than I expected to finish up these wood sides for the bed. So next weekend, planning to head to the dump. And should be kind of cool just to see how it works. Probably going to use the tractor front loader to load a lot of stuff into the back. And that should be fun too. Truck hasn't been started for months. I have 2 new batteries in there, and I've had those on a battery maintainer, so those should be good. But it'll be interesting to start it for the first time in a while. I think it'll be fine. And got to give it a good washing just because it's been collecting dust. But I'm stoked to finally be able to use the truck after having it for so long. So see how it works.